This is the third and final video on solving proportions, okay? Just proportions that are equations given to us as one ratio equal to another with some unknown variable. This time, we're dealing with that variable being in two different places in the equation. We're still going to use cross multiplication to solve these, and we'll see how that plays out in this case where the variable is in two different locations. First, we'll do this direction, n times m. And then we'll go the other direction. And remember that when we have a quantity in a numerator or denominator that has more than one term, we need to write this as 8 times the quantity m plus 7. So we have 9m equals, we'll distribute the 8, 8m plus 8 times 7 is 56. We're going to put all of the variables together on the left-hand side. 9m minus 8m is 1m. The 8m's on the right-hand side cancel, so m equals 56. Let's check our work here. That says that 56 divided by 8, 56 eighths, is equal to 56 plus 7 ninths. Well, 56 divided by 8 is 7. 56 plus 7 is 63, so 63 ninths. Well, is 63 divided by 9 equal to 7? Yes, that's true. So m equals 56 is our correct final answer. Let's do another example with a variable in two different locations. Here we have n over n plus 1 equals 3/5. So in one direction we get n times 5, which we'll write as 5n. And in the other direction, we get 3 times the quantity, n plus 1, remembering to put parentheses around the n plus 1. We'll distribute the 3, so we get 5n equals 3n plus 3. We want to get all the variables in one location, so we'll subtract 3n from both sides. 2n equals, okay, those cancel out, 3. So dividing by 2, we get that n equals 3/2. Let's plug that back in and see if it works. So 3/2 divided by 3/2 plus 1 should equal 3/5. Okay, so 3/2 over, let's see, 3/2 plus 1 is the same thing as 3/2 plus 2/2, because 2/2 equals 1. So we have 3/2 over 5/2. That should equal 3/5. Well, that sounds right to me, because if I take 3/2 over 5/2, if I multiply that by 2 over 2, 3/2 times 2 is 3, and 5/2 times 2 is 5, and this just has a value of 1, so if I multiply this thing on the left here by 1, I get 3/5, the thing on the right, so they must be equal. So n equals 3/2 is definitely true. Here's our next example. X plus 6 over x equals 10/7. So we'll cross multiply. X times 10 we'll write as 10x equals x plus 6 times 7. So we'll write that as 7 times the quantity x plus 6. Distribute out the 7. We get that 10x equals 7x plus 7 times 6 is 42. Subtract 7x from both sides. On the left we get 3x, on the right the 7x's cancel out and we get 42. Dividing by 3 on both sides, we get that x equals, well, let's see, 42 divided by 3 without a calculator. 3 goes into 4 one time. And then we've got 1 left over, so there's 12. 12 divided by 3 is 4. So 42 divided by 3 is 14. And we'll quickly plug that back in and see if it works. 14 plus 6 over 14 should equal 10/7. Well, 14 plus 6 is 20. 20/14, does that equal 10/7? Well, yes it does, because 10 times 2 is 20 and 7 times 2 is 14, so they are proportional to each other. Let's step it up a notch and apply cross multiplication in this case, where we still have two variables in two separate locations, and now each of them is part of a larger quantity. Okay, there's two terms everywhere that there's a variable. In one direction, we will have 5x minus 4 times 6. So I'm going to write that as 6 times the quantity 5x minus 4. And in the other direction, we'll have 8 times the quantity x plus 5. So 8 times the quantity x plus 5. So let's see here. I'm going to distribute on both sides. So first on the left, the 6 needs to get distributed. So I'll have 30x from the 6 times 5x, and then 6 times a negative 4 will get us negative 24. So 30x minus 24 is what we have on the left. 8 times x is 8x, and 8 times a positive 5 is positive 40. So we have 30x minus 24 equals 8x minus 40. I'm going to subtract 8x from both sides to get the x's in the same place. On the right, those 8x's cancel out, and on the left, 30 minus 8 is 22. So I have 22x minus 24 equals 40. Now it's just a linear equation that I'm solving for x. So we're going to add 24 to both sides, and we'll get that 22x equals 64. Dividing by 22 on both sides, well, I know 64 isn't divisible by 22, but they are both divisible by 2. So 64 divided by 2 is 32. 22 divided by 2 is 11. So 32 elevenths is our final answer for this problem. That one I'm probably not going to check by hand by plugging it back in. You could plug it into a calculator to see if it works if you're allowed to use a calculator for problems like this. Our final problem today says that 8/3 equals v minus 9 over 7v plus 4. We'll apply cross multiplication and do the distribution like we did in the previous problem and solve for v. So in one direction we have 3 times the quantity v minus 9. In the other direction we have 8 times the quantity 7v plus 4. So on the right, 3 times v is 3v. 3 times a negative 9 is minus 27. On the right, 8 times 7v is 56v, and 8 times a positive 4 is plus 32. So you want to get the v's in the same place, and instead of subtracting 56v from the right and moving it to the left, I'm going to subtract 3v from the left, because doing this will get me a positive value for the coefficient of v. In fact, it'll be positive 53. On the left, we're left with negative 27 because the 3 v's have canceled out. And on the right, we have 53v and then plus 32. So we'll solve by subtracting 32 from both sides. On the right, that cancels. On the left, we have negative 27 minus 32. When you're subtracting a negative number from a negative number, remember that if you're on the number line and you're at negative 27 and then you're subtracting 32, you're moving 32 to the left of negative 27. So in a sense, we're doing 27 plus 32, and we're going to be that much away from 0 to the left. Okay, so this whole distance from 0 is going to be 27 plus 32, and it's going to be the opposite of all that, the negative of all that. So we can think about this as an addition problem, but then tack a negative on it. So 7 plus 2 is 9, 2 plus 3 is 5, so this is negative 59 equals 53v. I already know that 53 isn't going to divide evenly into negative 59, so we're going to get a beautiful fraction out here at the end. We're going to get negative 59 53rds equals v. And again, something you could plug into a calculator to check, but something I'm not probably going to want to check by hand.